Modes. What are they? What the heck are they? What do they mean? Where do they come from? Why should I learn how to play them, you may ask? Well, this next series we're going to get a pretty in-depth look at where the modes come from, about how to play them, how to play each mode, how they relate structurally to different chords and chord scales. And it's going to show you really a chance to see harmony in a different way when you look at your fretboard, and also to train your hand and your ears to coordinate into different patterns that eventually, trust me, will mesh into something more musical than just an exercise to play. Now, a lot of people say, why should I learn the modes if I want to be a rock or a funk player? Most people associate modes with jazz or bebop playing. Well, number one, you want to continue to grow as a musician, not just as a bass player. And any knowledge you learn is going to help you. And as far as people say, well, how can I use them? How do I relate to them? I don't think it's something that happens in a day. You know, music isn't a language. We're having a dialogue. And we didn't learn to speak our language in a day. We learned by memorizing A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And when we're young in kindergarten, those don't mean anything to us. And then we see A for alligator, and then we realize we can put these letters together, C-A-T, to form the word cat that represents an animal. And I think music's the same way. So please don't get frustrated when something may seem just like a rote, routine of running scales. The idea is that eventually it will become part of your dialogue when what you hear and how your fingers relate, and it won't become an exercise. It will become part of your musical vocabulary. So let's take a look at where the modes come from. Okay, let's talk about our modes and just really see where they come from. Modes are basically scales. And where they come from and the names are, well, let's start in the key of G, shall we, with a G major scale, which we all know. So the key of G, the tonic, or the first scale, is called the Ionian. And its scale is made up of the root, major second, major third, fourth, fifth, sixth, major seventh, and the octave. There you have your Ionian, or the tonic, in the key of G. Now what happens if we take the same notes in that scale, but instead of starting on the tonic, starting on the 2, which would be the A. So we're going to have the same notes that were in a G major scale, but starting in the A. So we've got, there is a mode. That is called the Dorian mode. Okay? Now, what if we take the same notes from G major scale, start on the 3rd, which is the B, same notes, that gives you the Phrygian mode. Same thing, starting on the 4th, or the C, playing the notes in a G major scale, which is 1 sharp, F sharp. There's your Lydian mode. Now, the same thing, starting on the 5th, you've got your Mixolydian. Right, starting on your 6th, you've got your other minor scale, the Aeolian. And starting on the 7th, you've got your Locrian. And then back to your tonic, your Ionian. So that's what they say when they mean by modes. It's the same notes in the scale starting in a different spot. Now, a couple things. We're going to go into depth about each of these modes. And we're going to do octave scales, and we're going to do 2 octave scales. And I want to talk just a minute about a concept of moving up and down the neck, right, when we're doing scales and arpeggios, which is we're really trying to teach a technique of moving in a smooth manner up and down the neck. For instance, if you wanted to play a 2 octave scale, well, that's a lot of movement of your hand, right? Or, well, if you know the right places to move your hand, you're going to find a lot easier ways to get up and down the neck. And believe me, the idea is to make things as easily as possible so you don't have to worry about scales and notes and chords and stuff like that. So there are your modes. you've got, in the key of G, starting on the tonic, the Ionian. Starting on the second, your Dorian. Starting on the third, your Phrygian. Starting on the fourth, your Lydian. I like that one. Starting on the fifth, your Phrygian. Mixolydian, excuse me. Starting on the sixth, your Aeolian. Starting on your seventh, the Locrian. And back to your tonic. All right, let's take a look at each mode and get some exercises to get us really familiar with each one.